Similar setup to last time. Nothing too crazy has changed. I've definitely recognized this Gibson.
Oh yeah, this has been my main
number one, right?
forever. Yeah. I did a lot of questions about it, but it's basically just a Les Paul Axcess. You know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It is like a one-off guitar. Somebody had it made. Like usually with the Les Paul Axcesses, they look like a Les Paul standard, you know.
Right.
But this one obviously has like the look of a custom.
Sure.
Yeah, I love this guitar, man. Like I'm sure you know, like sometimes you just get so close to an instrument, it's hard to pick anything else up.
Totally,
you know?
man. You know, for people that are familiar with your music, if you're not, go check it out. This guy's incredible. You have such a amalgam of technique and style that most people won't ever be able to approach in their entire lifetime.
Oh, thanks, man.
I've always wondered, like, you know, you do such a good job of blending like tapping techniques in with traditional shreddy stuff, and does that at all inform how you have your guitar set up? Because I know, like, you know, is your action super low?
It's really, really low.
Really?
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. Like no matter what guitars I'm playing, like with this one, I'm constantly messing with it on the road because you know, like when you're traveling, the next move. But this one's pretty solid. But just from playing, I've actually had it fret leveled twice. So now this one is like a fretless wonder, but just kind of inadvertently, it made it so I can get the action just insanely low to the point where like I'll give it to my friends and they can't even. They're like, "What is this?"
Yeah,
I can't believe this is set up like. Yeah, it's like weird.
Yeah, you're playing in such a different way. Like, were you a piano player first? How did
I
you
was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
that makes perfect sense because I'm like, I watch, you know, like obviously love your music is great, but I love your covers and I like follow all that
thanks,
stuff too.
man.
And it's funny to watch you do it. It's like, oh my god, this guy's like a 10-finger orchestra. He's just like
Thank you so much,
doing
man.
the damn thing. Yeah,
I appreciate it. But
how did that start? Like, what got you into that?
I kind of, you know, man, like after my first band broke up, I got off the road and was like kind of burnt out on everything I was playing, you know. And I always liked like the like solo jazz guitar thing, but I could never do it at all, you know. Like it never really, it just didn't come naturally to me, you know. But I always liked the idea of like being able to do like the chords and the melody at the same time, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So that
it's
just
almost
kind of
like a neo Chet Atkins thing.
I love Chet Atkins.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, I've never really been able to do the fingerstyle thing too well though. So, I don't know. Like I always liked tapping, and like it kind of just happened naturally, you know.
So like I feel like you're a bit of an outlier for Candyrat, and I'm like a huge fan of that label, and you know I love Andy McKee and Antoine and all those dudes. How did they find you, or did you find them, or like how did that happen?
The owner of the label, I had my record done and I was kind of like shopping it around, and he checked it out and just was really, really into it and sent me an email and said,
That's so cool.
yeah, no, I love working with them, man. Like I grew up a fan of Candyrat too,
Yeah.
you know, like all the acoustic guys.
Totally, and that's I think what's weird about your situation with them is like do they have other?
There's a few electric.
guys?
They have a couple
Yeah,
electric guitar players, yeah. But yeah, they've been great, man. They've been really supportive.
Yeah,
so
man.
no, I feel lucky to be with them, and like yeah, I'm gonna continue working with them. They're great.
So all right, you're from Detroit, you're in the South. How much trouble does the trem give you? Or, I mean, the locking nut, I'm sure, helps.
Not at all. This thing, it's blocked, so it's not full floating. But that's the main thing, like with using the Floyd Rose, the tuning stability is the biggest thing for me. Like I like doing the dive bombs and just making noise, but with this, it's like just eliminating tuning problems is such a big difference.
Huge,
Just being on stage, like I hate having to tune on stage and going, oh God, it's out, you know?
So a lot of, you know, what would you call it, neo fingerstyle, like the Candyrat roster. A lot of those dudes are playing in very odd tunings.
Right.
Is that something you do, or you try to keep it standard?
I haven't messed with it so much. I think on my new record I've done a little bit of it, but no, I'm just down a half step most of the time for all my solo stuff.
So standard other than that?
Yeah, just standard. I like when you do the alternate tunings, it does kind of change the way, it changes your creativity a little bit,
Sure,
you know?
yeah.
But like a lot of the stuff I do is kind of based, like kind of pattern based, you know? So as soon as I start changing stuff around, everything, it kind of messes me up a little.
Totally,
you know?
yeah. Like it's also especially hard if you're very accustomed to one tuning. Start going back and forth. And like,
yeah, and I don't really like changing guitars on stage that much. I know that's kind of weird. Like I kind of like just sticking with one or maybe two during a set.
What strings?
Elixir, just 10 through 46. So
You just like
standard.
a coded for the tapping?
I have this weird thing to my hands where they just rip through strings if they're not coated. Like when
really?
when I was a kid, like if I changed strings, they'd be dead in like a few hours. It's weird, man.
Whoa.
Like I don't know if it's like acidic
a touch
hands
thing.
or it's weird.
Interesting.
But yeah, the Elixirs last forever.
Yeah.
Like I can do a whole tour and not even have to change them.
Yeah.
So
What
nice.
about picks before we get too far into it? Because you're sometimes using picks, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
for the
yeah.
shreddy stuff, yeah.
It's just Dunlop extra heavy, so like 1.2.
So you just stuff them in there until you're ready.
Dude, if anybody else has a better like system for putting the pick away and then being able to tap and grab it back, but yeah, I just keep it right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't come up with anything
Because
better.
unlike other players, when you're tapping, it's not like you can tuck it and hide it. Like,
Sometimes you can.
Sometimes, but you're using your finger, all of them.
Sometimes you can't. What's so funny, man, is like during during my set, I kind of have to work out exactly where I'm gonna grab the pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious, but yeah, I try to just do it the same way every time, so I don't mess up on stage or whatever.
That makes perfect sense.
But yeah, I've always done that. I've just kind of kept it up there. But no, nothing crazy. I do think though, like sticking with one pick gauge or one like thickness is really important, or at least for me. Like I think that just helps keep your playing consistent. Like I know some people use whatever, like depending on the part they change, but for me, I've always like when you find something you like, just try to stick with it. I think
The
just helps with the consistency.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So given the fact that you're a half step down, especially live, but for most of the time, does that inform your gauge? Or, like, are you going 11s instead?
It's just 10s.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've tried 9s before, but I snap them.
Because you're bending too hard?
Yeah. I kind of play kind of heavy, or pick kind of heavy, but that seems kind of to be the magic thing for me. Like 10s down a half step kind of feels the best, at least with this scale length.
For the tension and everything. Yeah. Sure.
So yeah, I've kind of I've done that forever.
Yeah.
But I was playing in drop B for a while, like in another band, so I had kind of a crazy.
A 6-string?
A 6-string drop B, on an Explorer. So with that, you have to go really heavy strings. But
no doubt.
that's kind of the only time I was making a custom set for that. But other than that, it's always just 10 through 46.
Okay, so when you're not on this guy, which I think most of your audience has seen, you have another guitar. Is it mostly a backup, or is it something?
I'll play them both, depending on the night.
Yeah.
They sound similar. These are Motor City pickups, and I have the same pickups in. I have a Friedman guitar that I use a lot as well. So I'll show you that.